Hi everyone, I'm Lillian.
And I'm Felipe.
We are the Postmodern family.
We are Americans living in the UK, living a traditional life.
Should we move this out of the way? Because it shows in the bottom right there.
Okay.
Hang on. We make 3 new videos a week, so we encourage you to subscribe.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Today
we're going to list to you 13 differences in renovating a house between the US and the UK. So before we get into this, we have been in the middle of moving. Some of you may have noticed that when we posted some old videos because we haven't been able to get out new content for you guys. And it has been 2 and 3 months or something.
Since mid-December.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Since mid-December.
For buying a house and then deciding to renovate it. And in the process of renovating, we have learned a lot of new terms and just differences in buildings and how people build things.
And since so many of you really enjoyed our list of differences between US homes and UK homes, it was just one of those videos that was thumbs up so many times that we figured we'd touch on this topic once more.
Yes. So in response to the general feeling behind the commentators in that other video, in response to that, which the main one that kind of annoyed me was, if you don't like the houses here in the UK, then you should just go home. And we found that really funny because to me, the house that you live in shouldn't affect what country you want to live in. Does that make sense?
Like, oh, I want to live in France because the bathrooms there are just spectacular. Or I want to live in Japan because they squirt your bum with water from below.
Oh,
or is that in France too? They do that?
They do that in France.
And then in Japan?
But in Japan, I don't know. But like for example, in Korea, everyone sits on the floor. Most of the tables are low and you sit on the floor for your dinner. And sometimes you have to convert that to your bedroom at night. But look, we aren't living in the UK because the houses are fantastic. And it doesn't mean that we don't like living here just because the houses are smaller here.
Yeah.
So we really do like living here, which is why we're making these videos. And we're sharing with you guys that you should be proud of the country you live in. So this is a list of differences.
Because after all, you should take pride that even some Americans decided to come live over here. The greatest country in the world.
So small. Even though there are no garages that fit your car. People wondered, why would you want to put your car in the garage? Let me explain this to you. In America, now I'm not saying America is the best place to live, but the garages in America are usually attached to the houses. So once you drive into the garage, you just close the garage door. You get out in the nice warm garage that's safe from snow and rain. It's dry in there.
Wait, because they'll get confused. Do you mean that the garage is warmed by central heating?
Sometimes.
Because usually not.
Okay, well, anyway, you get into the garage, you close the garage door behind you, so you don't have to get out of the car and leave the garage through the garage door. There's another door that leads into the house.
Yeah.
And I know, so it's like you don't have to even put your shoes on until you leave. I don't know how to explain it.
Off? What? The garage is another room in your house, except it has a massive door that you get to from the outside.
It's just hard to explain, I guess. But the garages here that we have seen are always detached from the house. Like you have to, it's like its own little box, right? Whereas in America, they are attached to the house.
Is this a garage video?
And you just walk through to go inside the house. So you don't have to go in the rain and snow or anything. You don't have to. You can take your shoes off in the garage even, and then just go into the house. A lot of people do that in America. Anyway, This is not a video about the garage. Okay. So, number one, the differences that we've seen is that the word for a countertop in America is worktop in the UK.
Number two, the word for taps, which is what you use in the UK, is faucet in the US. So we would use faucet, but here you use taps. No one would know what faucet is here.
Number three is crown molding in the US is coving in the UK.
In the US, there isn't really, that I'm aware of, a standard paint color for rooms. So if you have like, you bought a house that you want to turn into a rental property, you want to paint it some safe color that everyone accepts as safe and normal. I don't know if there is one, but in the UK, magnolia is the safe go-to color that they sell by the bucket loads.
Number five, there is no such thing as a lease contract without a break clause in America, but here there are leases that have no break clause, and that's new for us.
Number six is there's a company that rents out vans to help you move and stuff called U-Haul, but that's now becomes just the word you use for renting a van to move, even though there are more companies than U-Haul. So now if you're moving, people say, oh, why don't you get a U-Haul? They don't mean the actual company, they just mean a thing to move. So here it's not U-Haul, it's self-drive. U-Haul versus self-drive.
Number seven is the popular stores that you would go to that are known as like DIY stores or home building stores. And in the US, they were Home Depot and Lowe's. And here in the UK, they are B&Q and Wickes.
Number eight are these warehouse type stores here in the UK that are just awesome. And they sell you every bit, all the tools and supplies you can imagine. They have the biggest catalogs, but all you do is just walk up to a front desk and you put your order and they go fetch the stuff. So we're talking about Tool Station, Screwfix, those sorts of stores that we've dropped hundreds, if not thousands of pounds on in this home reno project. But I don't know, or I'm not aware of an analogous store in the US where, you have your Home Depots and Lowe's where you walk through aisles upon aisles of stuff and you collect it yourself and then go pay for it. But a store that you would just walk to a front desk and order and they bring it to you, I don't know that there is one.
Number nine is the word for drywall in the US is plasterboard here in the UK.
Number 10 is the prevalence of plastering or putting plasterboard and then plastering over brick here in the UK. In the US, as far as I understand, and I've lived in the Southeast, I've lived in the West Coast, and I've lived in the Northeast. I haven't spent much time in the middle, but it seems like in the US, all we do mainly is drywall, and you sort of plaster a little bit at the seams to smooth over the transition from one plasterboard to another. But here, it seems like it's standard practice to plaster the whole surface.
Number 11 is the difference between the use of brick and wood for building houses. In America, it is very common to have wood frames for the entire house. You would have like a concrete base and then wood for the rest of the house. Whereas here, you have the concrete base and then brick for everything, the walls. In America, the use of brick for walls was usually just a facade. If you've ever seen brick houses in America, it's usually still wood frame, drywall, walls, and then you have a brick facade.
Number 12 is the word used for what you call here a cloakroom or a toilet or a water closet. In the US, we would say a half bath. Even though there is not half a bath in there.
And number 13 is the difference between the word anchor and wall plug. So these are things that you would drill into the wall and put into the wall before putting a screw for support. So we would call them anchors in America.
But I think I would have, if I were to redo this list, I would have maybe added the difference in customer service of contractors. Our experience in the
Watch our next video as we rant about working with builders.
Different one would be the coving and the crown molding. I think the other ones maybe make sense. I can.
Like wall plug makes sense. You plug the wall with it.
Yeah. Like they make fun of us for calling it walkie-talkie, but they name things sort of normally as well, like the wall plug. It plugs the wall.
Yeah, yeah. The worktop, though, I found that confusing.
Although, why countertop?
Because it's like the counter.
What is a counter? Is someone who counts?
A counter is the
I think that's where
place
it
you go up
originates,
to.
maybe.
Yeah, and that's why. So I think it came after the word counter, and then the countertop, the top of the counter, and maybe the counter is where you count money. You know, like if you go to the teller.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Oh, I was listening.
Obviously.
Yeah, so the countertop would be. That makes sense to me. Whereas worktop, I just got confused because I was like, were these for workspaces only, like businesses? And I thought, why would you have a worktop in your kitchen?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment below and check out our t-shirts at teespring.com.
Become a patron at patreon.com/thepostmodernfamily.
Thanks for watching. Bye.